Here with me today is a four-time Grammy Award-winning super producer with 56 number one records and 18 Billboard Hot 100 hits. He's worked with major stars like Beyonce, Usher, Chris Brown, Nicki Minaj, Fergie, and I mean, come on, that's just naming a few. But earlier this month, the industry powerhouse received a proclamation from Fulton County Commissioner Dana Barrett to celebrate something else: his philanthropic contributions to youth empowerment, music, and culture. So, Mr. Sean, the Pen Garrett, thank you so much for joining me today.
What's up? What's up? How you doing? How you doing? So glad to
I'm
meet you.
excellent. Likewise, likewise. Now, we've got to get into it. You got to tell us about this special event where you were honored. What experiences made that day so special?
Well, I mean, to get to receive the proclamation from Fulton County was absolutely amazing. I also just received a civilian award in Atlanta from Atlanta, which is like the biggest award you can get from Georgia in the state of Georgia. And so I'm really having an amazing month and year. um, it meant a lot to me. The proclamation from Miss Barrett for the Amplify Your Music initiative, and that's actually um, going to be a part of my nonprofit. Is to keep music in schools with for kids. Um, Part of my success as a human being has been a songwriter, a producer, a hit maker, an artist. Um, in school, music was very, very important to me, and I think that, it was a big, it was definitely a contributing factor to my success. Being able to sing in chorus or play instruments. I remember, you know, playing different instruments at a very young age was very helpful to my understanding of math, understanding of putting things together, you know, um, communicating with my peers. So yeah, it was really, it was really a big thing. And I think that kids somehow need to have some sort of outlet. Music is an outlet. It also helps you understand, other things like creative writing, communicating, articulating, um, numbers. Music is all of those things. You know what I'm saying? So I feel very, very proud of the initiative, and the proclamation was just confirmation that, we're doing something right,
That's right. That's right. And you mentioned your Outstanding Citizens Award. I was going to bring that up next. I'm like,
Um,
listen, you getting awards. This is just what you do. This is your everyday, it feels
yeah,
like. Like you
yeah,
said, this is your year. Exactly. Now, my question to you is I feel like, every day you have some people who go about doing good deeds, and oftentimes it's not recognized, right? But you're fortunate enough that what you're doing for your community does get recognized. So, what does that really mean to you?
Well, I mean, I'm a straight Campbellton Road Grady baby.
Yeah.
My mom from Perry Homes. You know what I'm saying? She went to Archer High. For anybody from Atlanta, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what that is. And I'm
Yeah.
very, very proud of, like, I lost my mom in like '02. So everything I do, all of my accomplishments are dedicated to her. My dad is still alive. I love my pop. My mom and dad met on Fort McPherson, ironically, and I'm a military brat. And so I moved to Europe when I was 6 years old. And, signed my first record deal when I was 14. Me coming back to America and being able to show up and show out has been really like rewarding, right? Because the biggest thing, as you know, um, for us, it's about just showing up for our community. You know what I'm saying? And giving back to our community and being able to be effective in reference to like communicating with our community, showing love, giving back in a way that makes sense for you. You know what I'm saying? It makes sense to the community. So I feel like I've gotten so much love from my community, my city. I just performed at the mayor's benefit a couple days ago, and it was incredible. You know what I mean? Shout out to Demetrius, shout out to the mayor. You know what I'm saying? And we had like Rick Ross and my boy Young Dro, myself, Lloyd, um, all goes on my train. You know what I mean? Like it was, you know, it was really great. It was really exciting.
Yes, sir. Now, I want you to dive a little bit deeper into your nonprofit. It's called Amplify Your Music. You mentioned it a little bit earlier. Tell me what even got you into founding something like that? I know you just talked a bit about your own upbringing, but what is the exact moment, the exact story or situation where you were like, yeah, this is happening?
Well, I mean, I think from the perspective of like what affected me, what gave me the sort of jolt, right? And as a kid, you know, I was an athlete and as well as a musician. Um, and you know, I think it was just the point of relatability, you know, like me relating to how kids feel. You know, I'm going to start doing quite a bit of mentoring, um, you know, motivational speaking, um, and the kids are just like really like my inspiration. You know what I'm saying? I look at kids as like, you know, they're you know so you know it's just like when you young you really trying to figure yourself out, you really don't know exactly what should you do, you know, especially when you're around 9 and 10. You know, you're trying to, you know, you're looking at the world, you're trying to identify who you are, you're talking to your friends, you know, you're trying to, you know, you're trying to be cool, you're trying to, you know, you're being influenced by certain things, certain people, and basically, and you know, and if you're trying to stay on the straight and narrow, that sometimes is hard. You know what I'm saying? So what I love about music is that music kind of keeps you out the way. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you know, it's been a very amazing, you know, tool for me. You know, it kept me, you know, sports and music kind of really kept me on the straight and narrow. You know, it's not like you know, and my parents too. You know, they really didn't play they didn't play the radio. So I think the idea of like music, I could just relate to answer your question. I could just relate music to just being a kid and understanding, you know, how much I loved it and how much I wanted to do it, and it made me, you know, realize I didn't have time for anything else. You know what I'm saying? If I made the decision to commit to music, you know, music is a 100% commitment, right? And so uh, I think the the big the big point of view is amplifying music is like helping kids be able to not necessarily be distracted, but it's just basically to give them an option, right? To stay on course, stay focused. And if the more you learn about music and how intricately, if you have that ability, how much it can do for your life, how much it can help you help other people. And me being a hit maker, you know, as you can see, like I wear quite a few hats, but I've been able to contribute to the world in such a way to where I help women, I empower women, I help my community, I empower my brothers, I empower people. You know, it's just it's a and see, I think my take on it was basically I didn't want to. It wasn't just about me being in front of the camera. It was about me helping other people from behind the camera, you know. And all those number one records is my legacy. You know, it's like I'll live forever. And we was able to change the world with some of the biggest records ever.
Exactly that. Now, speaking of all the work that you've done, especially like you said, with women, your brothers, your community, people, with your nonprofit. Do you have a particular testimony of a time where you helped someone out and you just saw something reap from it that was just more than you imagined? Just a sweet story or a funny story, maybe, that you could share with us about a time like that?
I'll probably say it would be the probably be the story of breakup. You know, so what's so funny is like so breakup was actually my first. It was actually going to be my song off. It was going to be the first single off my mixtape at the time. This was before this was before Spotify, before Apple, you know. So we would put our records out on a mixtape site. You know what I'm saying? And so at the time, it's like I didn't feel like the labels really understood me as an artist. You know what I'm saying? Like it was sort of like I wasn't like really Usher. I'm not Usher or I'm not Chris Brown. Like I'm more of like I'm more like I was more like Future before Future was Future. You know what I'm saying? It was just like so those type of records. I would write songs that was kind of like edgy. They were R&B songs, but they were a bit more edgy sometimes. You know what I'm saying? And it was talking about love in different ways. And then there were different types of records. You know what I'm saying? From Get It All to She Geek to Stupid. And so I was in breakup, you know, and so I really was basically trying to create like records that were very, very like dynamic. And so what happened was um before I put that song out, you know, I was about to put it out and you know, I ran into Mario's manager, who's Jay Irvin, who's Dr. J's son, and he was managing Mario at the time, and he was just like, "Yo," I had already told him. He was like, "Man, I love that song, man," but I had already told him it was my first single, so he was just like, you know, he called me the next day and was like, "Is it possible, man, if I could get that song to Mario?" I was like, "I just told you no. Like this is my single." But anyway, so I had went to the trap man to really like get with Gucci. This is the time when Gucci still had the goals in his mouth. You know what I'm saying? He was goo for real. Um, and so my idea was just like, I'm gonna put goo on this song with me, and I'm gonna share it with Mario too. So um, I ended up doing that, and at first the label was like, I don't really know about the song. You know, we think this is just a street record. And I was just like, no, this is a hit record. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it ended up being my first number one song, Gucci Man's first number one song, and it took Mario to another level. You know what I'm saying? At the time, and it was number one in America. Um, and it shook up the summer. You know what I'm saying? And it's like the loving you, loving you, loving you, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? We went super crazy. So it was just amazing. And like all of us won at the same time, you know what I'm saying? So that's that's what I mean by like helping my brothers and contributing to different genres of music and bringing us all together and having some fun and the women won, the brothers won, we won. You know what I'm saying? So I really enjoy the idea of bringing us all together and trying to do something really, really special.
That's right. That's right. I love to hear. I love the impromptu singing too. Keep it
Okay,
coming. We
you
want to hear it
saw
throughout.
me.
Now, I do want to get more into your artistry. You're talking about kind of earlier on. Let's talk about what's been happening recently. You just released a song called Girlfriend with Plies and Huncho. And was it in June, June 27th, if I'm not mistaken?
Yeah, it just came out. You know what I'm saying? So
Mhm.
about 2 weeks ago, I'm very, very excited about it. You know, girlfriend is basically, you know, it's like it's a conversation about love and the ups and downs of love. And, you know, basically like my take on it was putting three superstars, you know, on one record again, you know what I'm saying, from three different worlds, you know what I'm saying? Like my boy Plies, you know, my dog, you know what I'm saying, Huncho, you know what I'm saying, is like the new young, you know what I'm saying, gangster. I won't say gangster, but you know what I'm saying. He from the streets. And me, the R&B, you know what I'm saying, savant that says something that I don't think people really like say. You know what I'm saying? So, basically the conversation. I'm a conversationalist, so I think that the conversation that being had on this song is basically our take on what's going on in social media and conversations and like relationships today. Relationships today are just so like interestingly complicated. Um, if you're trying to be in love, because it's like you could really be in love with someone, but social media is so strong that it could actually cause a clench in your chain. You know what I'm saying? In your relationship, if you're not careful. Unfortunately, people are being influenced by things that that ain't really real. You know what I'm saying? So and if you're not smart enough or strong enough or you know solid enough, it can go wrong. So basically, it's like my take on it is just like if a person commits, if a person gives you a commitment and they say they're gonna be a ride or die, and then they end up changing up on you.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? It's just like it's just very difficult to navigate. You know what I'm saying? When you have already, positioned yourself in the world and at a certain level. You know what I'm saying? So that's my take on it. And then, of course, Huncho has his take, and of course, Plies has his take. So it's a very interesting song. But girlfriends to wives, and my wives turn to girlfriends. Girlfriends to wives. Now them wives is my past tense. If I had a wife that would treat me like my girlfriend, then she would be my wife, and she would be my girlfriend.
Okay, then go ahead and speak from the heart. Better sing that song. Let them know. Let them know. Now, I want to dive deeper into your songwriting and your collaborations and all that good stuff. We've already gone into all, like, or at least just some of the amazing stars that you've worked with. Us regular folk, we can't even imagine that. We like, what you mean you work with Beyonce and Usher and all these different people? Now, Beyonce obviously is on her Cowboy Carter tour. She just wrapped up here in Atlanta. And when I tell you, all week, this newsroom has been talking about, I'm going to see Beyonce. When are you going? And what time? And da 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 da. So you just have to appease the Fox 5 newsroom for a moment. You got to tell us something about working with Beyonce back in the day, whether it's, talking about her evolution now or just how she was, or just maybe something about her that you find, maybe personally interesting that people don't really hear about a lot, maybe.
I'll probably say like, well, for the viewers, um, just to let you know some of the songs I did for Beyonce was, Check Up on It, Get Me Bodied, Upgrade You, Ring the Alarm, Diva,
Yes.
or Destiny's Child, or what else we did? Red Light.
Lose my breath.
Okay, yeah. So then for Destiny's Child is like Lose My Breath, Soldier, Girl, T-shirt, Is She the Reason, I'm Through with Love. The list goes on and on.
Mhm.
But one thing I would say that was very, very um appeasing and beautiful about her, she's always been very, very kind to me and gave me the opportunity to just like be like myself and be as creative as I wanted to be with her. And so, records like Ring the Alarm, like, you know, I was, and shout out to my brother, Swiss Beats, who I did quite a few of those songs with as well. Shout out to my brother Bangladesh. You know what I'm saying? I got a lot of super friends, you know what I'm saying? So we
Me
went
too.
super, we went super, super crazy. But it was just beautiful that she just really gave me the ball and and allow me to just be as creative as possible and you know she was just always a sweetheart to me and gave me just gave me the reins to just be as creative as possible. And it's almost like the the smarter you are, the more she allows you to
Mm.
kind of flow, you know what I'm saying? I've said it and I'll say it again, she's probably one of the easiest people to work with because if you're just like on her level of intellect and understanding of how to create and deliver, then what I'm saying, the shit works. Excuse me. The stuff works. Uh, pretty efficiently. But it's been great. And it's also great like to see that even though she's on a cowboy her cowboy tour, what I'm saying, she's still pulling out them guns, what I'm saying, that we were ringing, what I'm saying,
Right.
that bring me along, or that diva, what I'm saying, or I just heard the mashup of her and Jay, what I'm saying, Diva, and one of his songs too, which is really really great. And it didn't hurt that Jay Z named me the pen. You feel me? So the fact that I'm you know probably the only I'm like the number 5 producer with the most number ones in the shortest period of time in Billboard history. So I just been excited to just enjoy this ride. And to be very honest, I didn't. I was working so hard. I never really even looked up to even see what was going on until like lately.
Mm, got you. Now, speaking of that, Mr. Garrett, or let me call you the pen, you are still very young. You have
Yeah.
so much life left to live. And as you've already said, I mean, obviously, you're extremely successful. You're literally like a living icon, a living legend already. But tell me, what other things do you aspire to? What more goals do you have? What more, like, what dreams do you have moving forward? Because every successful person I talk to, it's like it never ends. There's always something else they seem to be reaching for and striving for. Does that resonate with you? And if so, tell us why.
I mean, yeah, most definitely. Like, I feel like, I'm really like, as we say in Atlanta, like I'm really turned right now because my new album, getting out performing, what I'm saying? It's like I feel like I've had the opportunity to give so much of myself to my community and to the world. Now it's just like time for me to go monetize my brand and go do some TV, do shows around the world, put out some great music, what I'm saying, in reference to me singing. Some people didn't even know I could sing. So it's just like, and then collaborating with with different people. I just came back from Africa, by the way, which was so exciting. So I went to Zanzibar to present the Album of the Year award to this guy named Diamond Platts, who's like humongous in Africa, and he's from Tanzania. And then we went to Tanzania, Zanzibar, went to Kenya, went to Lagos. So it was really just incredible to actually visit Africa. And then so it just I just came from LA working with Ira Star, which was fire. You know what I'm saying? Signing new artists. You know what I'm saying? Just building up my label, Better Pendant. Um, doing TV shows. My uncle, Big Lionel Richie, is on American Idol. One day, hopefully, I could, fill that seat. You know what I'm saying? Um, one of my monikers is Young Lionel. So it's so much just going on. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just you know creating TV shows. I got to do my documentary. It's just like it's a lot of things. Yeah.
Absolutely. A lot of exciting teams. How
Hmm.
about that? How about that? Now we're gonna take a quick pivot because I have got to ask you before we hit record today. You're like, hold on, let me go grab my chain. You got to talk to me about this fashion because every time I see you post it up, you looking fly. Tell me, do you have inspiration for your fashion? Is this all you? It's very hip hop. Just you look like an artist. Tell me, where does that come from?
I mean, I love fashion. Growing up, being from Atlanta, you know what I'm saying? I'm always gonna be ATL every day, all day, Hamilton, you feel me? But growing up in Europe, you know what I'm saying, like And I forgot to mention that, like, the a whole fashion thing, like, we finna get really, what I'm saying, in tune in Paris and stuff, and just I'm about to get on really my fashion. People do like my fashion, but my fashion is like, my fashion is Sean Garrett. You know what I'm saying? From perspective of, like, I like to borrow from different places, different things. I love fabric. I love. It's like fashion is like an expression of you know your boldness, your excitement, your take. You know what I'm saying? Your affection. You know what I mean? Um, and I'm a very, I'm Pisces. I'm a very imaginative type of person. You know what I'm saying? I'm a dreamer. So, I like to do. I sometimes see myself as like a character, like Batman. You know what I'm saying? Like, I love taking pictures in the night. You know what I'm saying? I love putting that stuff on at night. You know what I'm saying? Jumping in one of my whips. You know what I'm saying? Depending on what color I'm deciding to do with my cars,
Okay.
I'll just, like, I'm all black right now, you know what I'm saying? So I'm in Batman mode. You know what I mean? I used to be all white when I had that 458. Well, I still had a 458 Ferrari, but I just, but I'm in all black mode right now. You know what I'm saying? So I might switch it up. But I just enjoy having fun. Clothes are fun, music is fun, people are fun. You know what I'm saying? I love people. I love
Yeah.
I just love the idea of putting that, as we say, putting that on. You feel me?
Understood, understood. Now, to wrap us up really quickly, do you have any last words of advice for those who are interested in getting into the music industry? I'm sure you hear this question all the time. So tell us, what is something quick that you can give our audience who might be interested?
Well, first of all, it's like, I like the idea of just being yourself. I think being yourself is very, very important. Being expressive, not having no limits of your ideas. You know what I'm saying? Because seeing your ideas through is probably the best advice I can give anyone. Just don't quit on yourself. Don't let the struggles of, you know, the ups and downs of life and music or business stop you from being motivated to overcome all of it, right? Because, I was told from the first song, my biggest song is Yeah. And that was actually my first number one hit. That was number one for like 13 weeks, 12 weeks on the Hot 100s. And that's 3 months at number one. And it was basically a song that, like, at first people didn't like. And so, it's just, you know, the persevering through all of those moments and not quitting. And now, I got 56 number ones. I got like 18 Hot 100 number one songs. You know what I'm saying? It just makes you very proud and very thankful. And so my advice would just be to anyone out here that's want to pursue your dreams, is just go for it, and don't quit. Don't allow nobody to make you feel like you're wrong for trying, or continuing your journey. Like, because at the end of the day, it's going to come down to your legacy, and what do you want your legacy to be? It's just like, I'm just excited about. I'm super excited about even putting up more numbers, putting up more Billboard number ones. You know what I'm saying? Still popping it. You know what I mean?
That's right. That's right. Well, Mr. Garrett, the pen. Thank you so much for joining us here today. Thank you for speaking with me. Thanks for dropping gems. Thank you for your philanthropy, for giving back to the community. And congratulations once again on all of your success, as well as receiving so much recognition from the city of Atlanta. You truly deserve it. So thank you. Thank you.
And thank you so much. I appreciate you, man. Thank you.
Of course. Of course. All right.